Hey guys, welcome back to another entry of the Diaries. Today I have somebody on the podcast I'm really excited for. We actually have a mutual friend of a very long time, and she recommended me to her. And then I went to your Instagram and started seeing everything you do, and I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. So for October, we're doing the Dry Diaries After Dark series. We have Faith Streng here with us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So excited to have you. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
She is a third generation intuitive healer, psychic past life healer, Reiki master, channel and spiritual mentor. She guides visionaries and seekers to release blocks, remember their past lives, reclaim their gifts, and align with their soul's highest purpose. Through her energy work, spiritual coaching, and her signature joy-based approach, she helped countless people step into transformation and freedom. We're so excited to dive into her story, her practices, and maybe even do a little reading.
Yes. So my mother and grandmother were past life healers. They found a modality that they really loved that opened up them to this whole new way of healing. And my grandfather was part of a channeling group in Detroit in the 70s.
Wow.
So I really get this from my lineage and grew up in a household where we were talking about the mind, body, spirit connection, angels, past lives, parallel lives, but never thought I would do it as a career. I think like most people, my life took a pretty dramatic left-hand turn at one point, and I reawakened to this aspect of my life, and I realized how passionately I feel about it, that I do have these gifts. Once the door was reopened, then it's just been just a bullet train, just going really fast ever since.
Was it something that you tried to ignore growing up? Did you know you had this gift when maybe pushed it aside because you're like, oh, I want to try other things?
Yeah, really good question. I think that I had abilities, but I didn't have a vocabulary for them. From the time I was 5 years old and the first time I was on a stage, I'm going to be an actor or there's nothing else for me. And because of my understanding of past lives, for me, it felt like this is my destiny. I'm so lucky. I know what I want to do. And I worked really hard for it. And I just loved it so much. I felt like this is how I'm sharing my gifts with the world. But that's still a very romantic view of what it actually means to be an actor. And so I pushed and pushed and pushed until I was in my early 30s, where I was just thinking, this life doesn't make me happy. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And I know there has to be something else. I don't know what it is, but that was my dark night of the soul of just totally surrendering to spirit and saying, I need to know what else I'm here to do, because this is not it. My entire worldview in my life has been based around this. After a couple months of really sitting with it, it came back to me where I realized I've been spiritual my whole life. I've been reading these books and communicating with spirit actually since I was 15 years old. And I had just never really thought it was something I could do as a career or wanted to do as a career. The world has also changed a lot since the 90s when I was growing up in West Michigan. And so then that door opened for me and I started doing energy work during the pandemic when everything went online, and I really was called to work more in the past life realm. It really felt like there was a need for that. And then my psychic abilities opened up a lot more, and then my business also grew from there.
So it was in your early 30s that you really started stepping into it.
Yeah.
Because I am in my early 30s. So I think a lot of people, especially in this day and age, they feel like whenever you're in your early 30s, you either need to be married or have your career figured out, and that it's too late to really step into that purpose. So that's such a testimony for people out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. And if you're not growing and evolving, then you're stagnant. And we're not meant to be stagnant. We're meant to keep expanding. And creative people particularly need to keep creating in some way. Your astrology changes when you're in your early to mid 30s. And that's really when things start to come aligned. So it's never too late. And all you can do is respect what your bliss is and respect what is inspiring to you. There's so many different ways to earn money now and to put together a life that feels good for you. Those older systems, they don't work for a lot of people who are passionate and creative and inspired, and you have to find your own way. Things do happen for you, like cosmically, when you're in your early to mid 30s to really support you really relaxing into your path. But even if you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s or 70s, it's literally never too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, how you said it changes your astrology, early 30s. How does it change?
So have you heard of your Saturn return?
No.
So that's when Saturn comes back into the same spot in the sky that it was when you were born.
Okay.
I'm not an astrologist, so just so we know, but that's kind of the main one that a lot of people look to and a lot of young people look to. So the ages between 27 and 32 or 33 are really intense in a time where you're dealing with some inner childhood stuff. You're kind of breaking away from maybe your early childhood dreams. You're forging your own path, really getting clear on the kind of adult you want to be. And then when Saturn goes through that transition and you hit like 33, 34, 35, can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah.
Shit just gets easier. Like, I swear to God, shit just gets easier. And if you're showing up and you're doing your best to live a healthy life and you're trying to be of service and take care of yourself, you will ride that wave. I absolutely promise you.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so relatable to me in my life. I have so many questions, but obviously this isn't about me. So, okay. So you said at 15 you had your first experience
Of communicating to spirit.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was actually probably a little bit later when I started doing the modality myself that my mother and grandmother had done. I never thought I could. And then when I went to college and I was studying acting, I was surrounded by some more open-minded people, and they really encouraged me to try it myself. And so this modality uses a pendulum, and so I picked up the pendulum the next time I was at home for winter break or something, and it immediately started moving. And if anybody's tried to use a pendulum, sometimes it takes a little bit to get it to move, but mine just immediately started moving very, very, very quickly. So I knew that I was ready to be using it. And then part of that modality also involves communicating with spirit, high self, the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, energy. It's all really just energy with my eye blinks. And so for me, I would be able to ask these questions, like one blink is yes, and two blinks would be a no. And so that was always in my back pocket as a way I was channeling. I didn't realize I was channeling, but that's what I was doing. And so that was something that stayed with me, that then when I got to that point in my 30s where I went, wait a minute, this is actually like really fucking cool what I do. And I had done a couple like sample sessions for people with this past life healing modality, and everybody was really moved by it. And so at 19 was when I started to do it myself. And up until then, my mother, my grandmother had been doing healing for me, and then I could do it for myself. When you can start doing healing for yourself, you can get to even deeper layers, levels. That was really the moment that things really kicked online for me.
That's so cool. Is it the pendulums that the two?
Those are divining rods.
Okay.
But it's the same kind of thing. They're all a form of divination, which is not like the pendulum's moving on its own or the rods are moving on their own, but you're receiving an impulse. You're receiving a spark that then is causing your body to move in the way of truth, because your body knows what truth feels like. And so that's why any of these modalities, tarot, oracle cards, divining rods, pendulum, runes, you know, there's so many different ways to do it, but they're all really a way of our subconscious mind kind of working with our body to give us the information, the truth. But you have to be a clear channel in order to do it, because our ideas will get in the way, they'll block us, right? So it's very important to me when I'm doing readings that I'm constantly asking, am I a clear channel? Am I a clear channel? To make sure that I'm not influencing the information that's coming through.
Yeah, I'm such a big believer in energy healing, frequencies, even turning on frequency music. There's so many different ways of healing. And so whenever you're doing past life readings or energy healing, do you ever feel after a little bit depleted?
I am very fortunate that I rarely, if ever, do. There'll be some days where I'll have a couple really heavy sessions where I have people really going through it, and that will be a day where I'll feel like I need to do some self-care. I think because I started this work using a pendulum and it wasn't always me just going in, there's kind of naturally a space for me between myself and my clients. And I also am so cognizant of knowing what it feels like to absorb someone else's energy. And I've done a lot of work around my own feelings of guilt or martyrdom or feeling like I need to help people. So I'm pretty clear on knowing when that happens and being able to be like, no, that's not my stuff. That's not my business. Boundary. If anything, it's just doing sessions on Zoom, like online, that tires me out more than anything. But I think I've been doing this work so long that there really does feel like there's a boundary between me and my clients, and it doesn't generally drain me, which I'm very grateful for.
I've always wondered that because there's my friend Jonathan, he's a medium, and he helps solve unsolved cases with the FBI and stuff.
Wow.
And so he's doing all these readings, and I asked him, I was like, do you get drained? And he's like, sometimes, but I'm helping people, and I'm such a big believer. Make sure you're refilling your cup, you know?
Absolutely.
And I was wondering about that. I've never tried Reiki or energy healing before. So can you take us through the process of what that's like?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really beautiful. I was actually just thinking about this because Reiki is a modality that was inspired by a man who was familiar with other forms of energy healing that did drain the practitioner. And he had an idea that there could or should be another way to channel energy that didn't drain the practitioner. So I also get that boundary from Reiki a little bit too, or a lot. So Reiki is basically acupuncture or acupressure, but without touch. It's still working with the same idea that we are full of energy, chi, prana, and when we experience dysfunction, whether it's in the mind, the heart, or the body, that it's because the energy is being blocked. And so Reiki works with the energy field that is beyond the body, because we know modern science tells us there is energy right beyond these physical things that we see. And so in a Reiki session, your practitioner will be moving their hands over your body, probably not even putting their hands on your body, to find where those blocks are and allow the energy to move more freely. And actually, not too long after I met my husband, I asked him if I could do a Reiki session. And he'll say, I just thought she was so cool. I would just do anything for her. Aww. And so I did a Reiki.
As he should.
As he should, absolutely. And so I did the session for him, and afterwards, he opened his eyes. He was like, "Oh, that was so relaxing. But your hands, they felt so warm on me. I thought in Reiki you weren't supposed to touch people." And it took me 10 minutes to convince him that I did not lay hands on him at all. He was absolutely convinced that I had been like gently massaging his shoulders and his legs. And so there's a lot of other things that can come up. Past life stuff can come up in Reiki. Different guides can come up in Reiki. Everybody's different. But at its most basic level, it's just allowing the energy that's moving through all of us all the time to flow in its most optimal way.
Yeah. I love that because I get acupuncture. We get into health and wellness on this podcast too.
Great.
But lymphatic drainage massages, because I tend to get blockages in certain areas. And so it's been helping. But at the same time, I'm like, maybe I should do a Reiki session because I feel like there's some energy that's being blocked within me. And, acupuncture helps in some capacity. But I really think that energy is so strong. Frequency is so strong. And you hold that in certain areas, like past trauma, right?
We are really complex, layered beings. And anybody who's interested in wellness, who's interested in spirituality, who's interested in energy, we'll probably talk more about this. You're a very old soul, and you've come in with a lot of baggage. And then we get even more baggage. And we've chosen to incarnate at a time when there are so many different modalities available, that we have access through technology to philosophies and texts from all over the world, that there really is something for everyone at every different stage of your healing journey. And I always say, like, just say yes. Just say yes, try things. And if you're going through referrals, definitely look at reviews to make sure you get someone who's reputable. It all fits together to help us. And I think a lot of us really need a lot of different things to help us get to that most aligned state that's possible for us.
Yeah. Is it super important to look into who's doing energy healing on you? Because also their energy could come onto you if it's not the right fit.
Yeah, there's a wide spectrum of people who work in this industry, and I would absolutely recommend, especially if it's your first time exploring, you don't really know what you're looking for, ask for a referral, look at reviews, because it can be really damaging and really hurtful if someone doesn't really know what they're doing, or someone does manipulate you in some way. I will ask my clients who come to me, have you ever been to a psychic or a healer that you feel like was detrimental to your well-being? And the stories that I hear about, you know, what people have been through, you know, someone told me this and I've always thought that was true, or, you know, things like that. It can be quite traumatic, actually. So I say it's really important to do your research and find someone that you feel really aligned with.
Yeah. Or just go to Faith.
Or just come to me.
I think that some people get natural healing, homeopathic medicine mixed up with almost like the witchcraft world. Or I know for me growing up, I grew up in Texas, and actually, we'll probably get into this, but my family goes back to Native American tribe. And so this has always been something that I've loved, I've been interested in, and talking to my dad and different people about it, they're like, Alex, that's witchcraft. What is Ellie doing to you? It's so woo-woo. And so for those people who think that this is along maybe evil or satanic, what do you tell clients, or what do you tell people?
That our understanding, or the popular misconception around the word witch, is like basically based on the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It doesn't really have any legs. And you look at historically people who are accused of being a witch, you're just talking about people who worked with herbs.
That's literally what I say. I think in my past life, I was a good witch. And so they're like, oh, that's so crazy of you to say. I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not witch. I'm not dealing with the underworld. Witch as in I was a healer, or I was doing something of natural remedies. And back then, you know, they thought that was so crazy.
Right.
I love that you said that, because I always harp on that.
Yeah, which was just the way of the world for centuries until, you know, the medical revolution happened. And so it's Reiki can do no harm. You know, Reiki can do no harm. Most of these other modalities that we're talking about, it can't harm you in any way. And my understanding of evil is there's nothing outside of us. We can talk about denser energies that can be in our space. That's absolutely a thing, but nobody is capable of more evil than human beings. We're all choosing to create whatever reality, whether consciously or subconsciously, that feels safe to us. And so it's really interesting. Just today I saw an article about some group that was very upset about a school in Orange County that was offering like a witchy Wednesday, where they were talking about journal prompts and the moon and like a little spell you could do, and they were very offended by it. And they demanded that they stop. And then at the same time, I read an article from Marie Claire that was like 16 books to help you connect with your inner witch or something like that. It is becoming more and more mainstream, and more people are understanding this actually feels good. Did you see that?
I don't think I did.
So, I mean, it was really big for me because, you know, Hocus Pocus was huge when I was young.
I've seen the old one.
Right.
Thousands of times.
So Disney did a second one a couple years ago, and I thought they did a really good job of talking about how when you do rituals with a candle, it just feels nice. When you like sit in a say a blessing with your friend, it just feels good. When you try and connect with the energy of a tree, it just feels nice. And it just really resonated with me. And I was really hoping that would reach a younger audience and helping people understand what this really is, and the idea that it is, and you're casting a spell on someone. Sure, there are people like dark magic, black magic is a real thing, but the people who are practicing, it is so small.
That actually have the ability to do what it is.
Not something that anybody really needs to be afraid of. And the other thing, I've only had maybe 2 or 3 people who've ever come to me as a client and said, someone's putting a hex on me, what can you do?
Yeah.
And I've had to be very clear with them about what I'm going to do is not about them. What I'm going to do is about how we can make you feel so empowered that you're not susceptible to anymore. So when all of us are walking around with our lights on and feeling like the amazing beings that we are, then, none of that stuff can touch you anyway.
Yeah. I'm really into like manifestation, affirmations, like low vibration, high vibration. And I think I've really stepped into it in the last 2 years, I would say. And now I know walking into a room, there's people where I'm like, okay, this energy is not for me, or I love your energy and you want to be friends with that person or hang out with them or be around them more. And so I always say your intuition never steers you wrong, and always listen to it, because that's basically frequency, energy, vibration within yourself, just giving you a warning or giving you a warm feeling, whatever it is. And I wish when I was younger I would have listened to it more. But at the same time, it just is the testament to how much we hold and how much power we have. And so you're saying she thought someone was putting a hex on her. Whenever you're moving and going at such a high vibration, those people can't really touch you, right?
Absolutely. Yep. You're right. Absolutely.
Okay.
And what you're talking about is being psychic, actually. I describe being psychic as just being in tune with the subtle energies that are around us. It's just a way of experiencing the energy that's beyond the 3D. I can walk into a room and I can feel the energy of other people, and maybe even feel the energy of the room itself. And it's probably never steered you wrong, like you said.
Yeah.
And for most of us, it takes being on the authenticity journey and on that deep shadow work journey to be able to clear enough of the conditioning and the programming that you're able to really tune in and listen to that. And that's when life gets a lot more rich and a lot more fun. You feel more supported, and it's just makes this human existence a lot easier when you're able to really tune into those messages.
What is shadow work?
Shadow work is the psychological process of identifying your ego self, your ego voice, which I interpret as the part of you that wants to keep you small and keep you afraid and keep you separate from source and from other people. And those messages can come from past life trauma. They come from how we were raised, society, different brain chemistry. Instead of wanting to push it down, you go, all right, I'm giving you a seat at the table. I'm not denying you a spot in this life anymore. I accept you and I love you because I know you're trying to teach me something. And if we work together, instead of me just trying to be ashamed of having these very human feelings, I'm saying, like, let's get a coffee and talk about this, because I can't have you driving this car anymore. I need to have a different aspect of myself driving the car. And that looks different for everyone, but it's an incredibly healing process that leads to greater self-compassion and self-acceptance, and being able to see us as multi-dimensional beings. Like, there is no good or bad. There is no right or wrong, really. Like, we are all a spectrum. And the more we accept all of our different colors, the more loving we are to ourselves, and the more loving and accepting we are to other people, wherever they are at on their journeys too.
And you help people do shadow work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dying to your ego.
Yeah. Instead of trying to overcome or squash your fears, you just go, all right, cool. Like, we can hang out. I'm just not going to only listen to you. I'm going to listen to this other part of myself that also says, girl, you're okay right now. Like, just take a breath, get a drink of water. It's a hard day, but don't over dramatize it. Tomorrow's a new day. Call a friend. Watch a movie you love. Just be nice to yourself and continue to find whatever practices and habits that work for you to help you stay ahead of that mindset that we know we see over and over again will just keep you small when we deserve to be as big as we want to be. That's what we came here to learn how to do. And I think shadow work is, you know, again, becoming more popular and is really an incredible way just to fall more deeply and madly in love with every aspect of who you are.
Yeah. Through shadow work, have you seen people overcome anxiety and depression?
Oh,
For me personally, I struggled with anxiety when I was really little, and it was all inner thought. So I had to retrain my brain, myself, whenever I would get panic attacks. And I feel like a lot of the things you just described would help so much with anxiety, depression.
yeah, very much so. And we're looking at guilt. I work with a lot of my clients on the deep layers of guilt that we have, the shame. Perfectionism comes up a lot, right? Like, why aren't I different? Why aren't I like that person? Why can't I just do this thing that this other person can do? And just being able to go, I don't know, because I can't, because my brain works differently, because my body rhythms are different. And being able to go, I don't need to hold on to this shame or this guilt or this fear that I realize I've been conditioned for that to be comfortable. And I just want to, it's my way of trying to control things. And when you start to work with whatever your a higher power is for you, and you go, I have to surrender, and I'm willing to be open to believing that I am perfect exactly as I am, that I am here to learn and I am here to grow, and there's no textbook. Like, we should have 8 billion different textbooks for every single person on this planet because everyone is so different. We have to figure it out through life experience. Bringing in a little more softness allows that anxious mind to quiet a little bit more and to feel a little more safe in positive emotions, in trust and surrender and self-love, in compassion, in faith. And that's what the spiritual journey is all about. No matter what it looks like, everybody's really talking about that, and some people have really twisted that around to be something detrimental. But ultimately, that's where everyone wants to go. We just all have these convoluted ways of trying to get.
Well, we can get into past life. So I've never had my past life read. So can you explain the process of that, what it looks like, and then also, does your past lives affect your present life?
Very much so. I will say, you don't really want to open a novel and read it in the beginning or just read the last third of the book. You have to go back and see what happened before in order to understand where you are now. And reincarnation is not New Age. It's nothing new. It's written about in the mystical aspects of the major world religions. And it is incredibly helpful for identifying why you have fears you don't understand. Why am I so afraid of deep water? Nothing's ever happened to me. Why am I so afraid of spiders? Nothing's ever happened to me. Why do I have this weird relationship with my sister that I just don't understand? Why do I always attract a certain kind of partner? And the people who find me, they find me because they've done therapy, like they've done energy healing. They've been on this journey for the long time, and there's something that's still not quite making sense. And when we go into their past lives, all of a sudden we get all of these answers for really anything that they're wondering about. And anybody who's interested in spirituality or past lives, you've been around the cosmic galactic block like so many times we can't even count them. And so you have so many past lives on Earth and in other places. The multiverse is real, that we can't even count them. You know, I've been doing this work for myself for 20 years and I'm still having new things that come up. So a lot of people are familiar or they've heard of past life regression or past life hypnosis. And that's when someone will put you into a meditative state and you'll see or hear or experience in some way a vision of a past life that you've had. And an experienced practitioner will guide you through that meditation to understand, why are you seeing this? What is it relevant for in your life today? I work a little bit differently. From my perspective, it comes from, we have, again, so many past lives. We can't count them all. We've all been beggars. We've all been queens. We've all been everything in between. So we don't need to like get too attached to any one of them. In my sessions with my clients, they may come to me with specific intentions, or I'll do an energy reading and I'll see that there's some energy blocks in the heart chakra. I'll use that as an entryway into what's called the Akashic records, which are basically the iCloud of everything that's ever existed or ever will exist. And I will see or hear or feel or know, those are how my psychic abilities are made manifest, what I call a download. I'll say, there's a download coming through, and I'll start to follow the threads. I'll be like, okay, it was around this year, it was this part of the world, man, woman, non-binary, like, did you have kids? Was there a perceived wound here? Did something happen in this lifetime that your soul perceived as traumatic, that it has not yet been able to heal? Maybe it was your husband left to go to war and never came back, and you were so heartbroken, and the grief destroyed you, and you're still carrying that in some way, to go back to what you were saying earlier around holding on to pain, right? Or you lost all your money because you were a gambler, and somehow that shame is still remaining, and so you're pushing away money in this lifetime in some way. And so we go in and we identify what those subconscious beliefs are. People always abandon me. I can't ever make money. I need to always rely on someone else, etc., whatever it may be. And we work with these high-level guides in this space and we clear it away. People, even over Zoom, will get physical reactions to things that they don't remember. They go, I don't know why I'm crying. Why am I crying right now when I'm talking about a lifetime from the 300s or the 400s? Wow. And then sometimes I'm seeing a lifetime where there hasn't been anything traumatic that's happened, but it was something where it was really exciting and abundant and fulfilling, and we're allowing our soul, or the soul of my client, to go, oh wait, I remember that too. I remember what that frequency feels like. I'm able to tune into the vibration of that experience so that I can call that to me now, and it's always in some way that the person is looking to grow in this lifetime. I combine this past life work with the chakra balancing, with channeling and talking to people's guides, and with spiritual coaching, because you can't just drop this information on someone and not tell them how to utilize it in their lives. And so it really ends up hitting the mind, the body, and the spirit for a really holistic healing experience.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So do you think that people have destined pasts in each life that they have?
I think that we have very few things that are predestined in every lifetime. Less than 5, maybe 2, maybe 3. And it can be that maybe you did have a romantic partner you were destined to meet, or a career path, or you were destined to live here, or you were destined to meet this person, you know, things like that. And so I do think that in all of our lifetimes, there are some things that are pre-planned, but for the most part, everything's free will.
Yeah. Are you able to identify people's predestined gifts?
Yes. Yeah. I am able to see, again, in those relationships or careers or places where people live, or perhaps a really traumatic experience that happened to someone in another lifetime that also affected a lot of other people. Maybe someone was accused as a witch and they were ostracized or punished or killed or imprisoned. And that was a soul agreement. That would be an opportunity for the community to grow as a result of this experience. So I will often see things like that where one soul really took the hit in order to be the catalyst for growth for a lot of other people. So that is something that I have definitely seen. And also, I'll be able to identify then, well, this thing wasn't predestined for you, but because you did the work and you kept showing up and you kept saying yes, you did align with this on your highest timeline. Just as valuable to see.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important, people that are into spiritual healing, is to always do inner work, because you may have this end goal that you want to do and you think that it's so far away, but if you keep showing up, you do have free will. Frequency is so vast that nothing is impossible, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And if you are codependent on healers, doctors, friends, whoever, to do the work for you, then you're missing a really critical step. We need other people. We're not designed to do it alone, but we do also play a very important role. We have to take responsibility for our own well-being and for maintaining that state of mind that we want to exist in.
Yeah. I was thinking about this before. Is there importance of solitude when healing?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people are uncomfortable being alone. That would accompany that shadow work. Like, why do I not like being alone? I love being alone.
Me too.
Because I love myself, and same for you. Like, you love spending time with yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that peace and quiet, you can't really connect to spirit, God, the universe, your angels, if you don't have peace and quiet. And so I think that solitude is absolutely a necessity when you're on a healing journey, and learning to get comfortable and enjoy it, because this is really all you have to rely on the rest of your life. Like, make best friends with yourself, because this is it. Like, this is the bestie for life.
Yeah.
And so the sooner you can stop resisting falling in love with yourself, the better off and the happier you'll be.
I know, I was watching something and they were saying that the most dangerous people are the people that love, or not love being alone, but okay with being alone, comfortable with being alone, and not dangerous in the sense of dangerous that we think, but they're unstoppable because they are so in love with themselves and so in tune with themselves that they're never going to be codependent on like a boyfriend or a husband or a friend, whatever it may be. I thought that was interesting. What would you tell people that are struggling with spending time in solitude?
I would say start small. Start with, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, one night home when you would have gone out, and really thinking about, what does my soul really want from me? Maybe it has to be like watching a movie or watching TV, but even that is a way for us to numb ourselves and not really listen. But it's just about saying yes to things, putting on some music, trying some journaling, try some adult coloring, reading a book, try meditating or listening to some affirmations, or, there's a million other crafting things that you can do, but it can be scary. And also knowing you don't have to be an introvert, and it doesn't mean you're never going to go out again, but it's about learning how to respect, when do I need to be with people, and when do I know I actually need to be alone and slow down and heal? And most of us are going on overdrive all the time. Our hormones are flooding our body because are on overdrive, and which eventually causes health problems. And when we're going, hyperstimulated, working so hard, hustling, grinding, right? That's not what the human body is designed for. And so we are all invited to look at soft living, right? Because that's what's sustainable. The other thing isn't sustainable. And especially people who are parents or want to be parents, you want to demonstrate that for your kids. You want to role model that for your kids. And in order to do that, you have to do the work and get aligned with that. So I would say just keep trying things and don't give up, because it will hit and it will connect, and you will find things that you enjoy doing that you can't do around other people.
Yeah. Does being with your dog count as solitude?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, he has a dog, so.
Yeah, definitely.
I love conspiracies, and we talk a lot about conspiracies. And so I was wondering, with the 5G EMFs, everything that is out there, is that designed to block our natural frequency and energy? Or what's your, because that's one of my conspiracies.
I don't think that
Yeah.
there's a big movement several years ago where people were trying to bury large amounts of organite near cell phone towers. And if you like conspiracy theories, you should definitely look into organite because it will give you all of the things you're looking for in a good conspiracy.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
A substance that a man came up with that has incredible healing properties that the US government did like burn all of his research. I think that the concern about it is a little overblown. I do know that if I'm spending a ton of time on screens, like I feel anxious and that's pretty common, right?
Yeah.
But do I think there's a big operative design behind that? No, not really. You know, what if we are able to use technology in a harmonious way that actually activates additional parts of our brain? Again, I don't know if that's true. That's me, right?
Yeah,
that's me. But, isn't that also a possibility here? So I don't think it's a big conspiracy on that, but I think we should be wary. But I also think, again, there's a lot of panic about it that doesn't really need to exist.
Yeah, it's more so the content that you're consuming.
Yeah, and just being mindful, like taking breaks when you feel like you need to take breaks, like getting out in nature. I think if you're living a balanced life, even in a place like Los Angeles or a major metropolitan city where there's tons of 5G, you'll be fine. I spend all day looking at a computer and I'm super tuned in, but everybody's different. I do think some people are probably more sensitive to it than others, but I don't think you really need to worry about it.
Is there any conspiracies that you're interested in, or are you not really a conspiracy person?
I'm always interested. I'm always intrigued because obviously there's things that we don't know. Mostly, I feel like anybody who would be in charge of a conspiracy, they're mostly ding-dongs. Like, these are not geniuses who have been running things historically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm super into Atlantis and Lemuria. I absolutely believe that human history started before modern, archaeology tells us that it did. Are there other conspiracies? I mean, most of the times I do look into them. And a lot of times with conspiracies, there might be a
little tiny bit of truth.
Right. But then people take it and run with it. And again, when you're like, it's human beings who are in charge, and human beings are mostly numbnuts. So they didn't. So how I feel.
Have you heard, I guess this goes into past life too, because maybe beyond the ice wall and Antarctica, they say, what are your thoughts on that? I don't think it's really a conspiracy, but
I certainly believe that there is a lot, even in our lifetime, as global warming continues to happen and ice melts and we discover different land masses underneath the ocean, we are going to discover a lot of new things. Yeah. Do I believe that there are high frequency beings living in the center of the planet? Yeah. Yes, I do. So I guess if we're talking about aliens and star beings, I forget that those are conspiracies because I'm just like, oh, we talk all the time. So I totally believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do believe that there is a lot beyond us. To think that we're the only people in such a huge world would be crazy. Even coming to like with signs, how you said, oh, I think that's so normal. So when I'm on a walk or talking to my spiritual guides or my past loved ones that passed, one being my grandmother, I started asking for signs. And so one huge sign that I always ask for is a butterfly. And so is that something that you practice, believe in?
Oh, very much. And that is one of the ways that the subtle energies are communicating with us. And I don't do that as often anymore. And I don't have any specific signs in my life right now, but I work with a lot of clients who are in that space. It's absolutely real. But I also believe that every animal that crosses my path, like that's happened for a reason. There is a magnetism that has come to give me a specific message about the symbol that that animal has to show me. I definitely see angel numbers, number patterns, and every single time I'm like, thank you, angel babies. And I am always thinking about, what does this thing really symbolize? I'm experiencing something which I know is really a metaphor for my subconscious mind. And how can I see the bigger picture of what's going on here? And as the signs or the symbols come in, then you're able to kind of understand, all right, what's the real lesson that I'm supposed to be learning here? But I think that, yeah, numbers, animals, signs, symbols, absolutely. Beautiful.
My friends ask this because if they're seeing constant like 333 or 444, they are like, okay, Alex, how do you know if it's a coincidence or if it's a sign?
There are literally no coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you believe in coincidences, then you believe in a chaotic universe. And this is not a chaotic universe. It is divinely and perfectly orchestrated, and we are actually in control all of the time.
Wow.
Nothing is ever happening as an accident. So I would say, you're seeing 333 all the time. Something is trying to hit you in the face.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, then there will finally be something that's so big that you have to go, okay, I can't deny this anymore, that there's something beyond me that I am a part of. And if you get to that point, if you're able to admit that, then you are well on your way to an awakening.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So if you're on the verge of an awakening and you want to step in, what would you suggest doing? Working with someone like you, or maybe looking into more spiritual practices it's called quantum leaping in some sense, right? And so how do you take that leap? It's probably a very intricate question.
Well, if you really want your life to change, and a lot of people, when you're talking about quantum leaps, you're like, I feel like I'm here. How do I get over here? How do I, shorten this gap between here and here? And the question is always, well, how much are you willing to surrender? Can you recognize where you're feeling edgy, where you're feeling hard, where you're not able to receive, and can you soften that? And so if you feel like you want this, or you're on the edge of it, yeah, well, definitely call me. It's time to start absorbing spiritual material. Like, read the spiritual books, listen to the spiritual podcasts, go to the classics like Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, and Louise Hay. Go to the indigenous practitioners who've been talking about this for centuries in our giant awakening in the 20th century. Start there, because everything comes from those places. It just brings awareness to your everyday life and your thoughts, and getting out in nature is always, for me, like the number one thing to make sure that you're doing, because it's really hard to be spinning and disconnected when you're in nature. But you have to start carving out that time for your spiritual life, for your mindset work, for your shadow work, whatever it looks like. And it's not something you only do for a short period of time. You're either living a conscious life or you're not. And a lot of times people will open the door and they'll get overwhelmed with, do I want to learn about crystals or astrology or past lives or numerology or this or that? And I'm just like, it's fine. This is the rest of your life. You are always going to be wanting to learn and grow, because again, that's human nature if you're listening to it. And so you want to learn everything at once and you want everything to happen at once, but it just doesn't work that way. Like, this is your life now. And I'm going to turn 40 this year, and I can see now with so much more hindsight, after having my business for X amount of years and having been on this awakened journey for so long. And I finally feel like now I'm settling in, like, oh, right, there's no destination. Yeah. There can't be. As soon as I get caught up in a destination, I'm cutting myself off from all of the other possibilities that the universe wants to give to me. And so it's just about like buckling down and creating those new habits and being discerning about the people you're spending time with and the places you're going.
Yeah.
Because you're creating a new world for yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, is there anything else you want to add before, or do you want to do a reading? Are you comfortable doing a reading?
Yes, I'm
on
totally
this?
comfortable doing a reading. I would say, and a lot of times my PSA when I do like group events is always, if you ever go to see a tarot reader or a psychic or anyone who makes you afraid, don't listen to anything they said and walk out and don't ever look back.
Really?
Because spirit is not fearful. So this work should never be based in fear and should never make you afraid.
Yeah.
The only thing we're learning how to listen to is love. And it doesn't mean that fear and darkness aren't a part of the light. They're not, they're a part of everything. We need duality, but that when you're seeking out practitioners or healers or readers, if it's not someone who's making you feel excited and empowered, even if they give you difficult things to swallow, then you should leave them a bad Yelp review.
Yeah.
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 That's my last thing I want to say.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah. So you might see my head might move a little bit. My eyes might blink a lot. It's just how I'm channeling energy. And so as soon as you said your grandmother, I was like, oh, she's very present with you all the time. And I'm not a medium. That's a different kind of psychic ability, but I'm kind of able to tell where souls are and if they're still around, if they've reincarnated, are they in some kind of angel school? Are they doing some other kind of work in the cosmos?
Wow.
But she's very much here for you. So there's a download coming through, a past life, an earth life. I'm hearing the 1300s. Is this true and accurate information? Yes, 1330s. And you were a woman at this time. Is that true and accurate? I'm actually hearing Brazil really, really strongly. Is this true and accurate information? Yeah. So you were, not surprisingly, since you're interested in this world, they're saying that you were a healer. You were a woman and you were a healer at this time. You were working with herbs. You were working with the energy of the land. And as we're dropping in, you're a little bit older than you are now. You were actually in your 50s as we're dropping in. You were 52. You had been married. It feels like your husband at this point was deceased, but you loved him very much. Are you in a partnership right now? Do you have a desire for partnership?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a partner coming. And I actually think that it will be this soul who was your husband in this other lifetime.
Really?
Yeah. And you had you had 3 children. All of them, you taught them about your work. And it feels like this was something you learned. It wasn't something that was passed down to you. I am seeing that at a young age, you had showed some kind of inclination for it. And so you had apprenticed with someone with is that true and accurate information? Was your grandmother in her own way a little bit witchy?
I think so.
I think that she actually may have been the woman that you studied with in this lifetime.
Oh, wow.
Is that true and accurate information? Yes. Okay. And so after I get this kind of information, this is where I ask, is there a perceived wound here? Was there a trauma that happened? And I'm getting a no. And it's not good or bad if there is or isn't. So this is something that is about your soul's blueprint that we're bringing to light. And what I'm seeing is that at this age, 52, I'm seeing you out in the jungle gathering a specific medicine. And I do see this sometimes in my sessions because they are extraordinary and your soul will remember them when/if we have had transcendent experiences. And that's what I'm actually seeing. There was some kind of transcendent experience, like a lightning bolt hit you. It didn't actually, but that's what it felt like. And I'm asking, was there a rainstorm or something that happened? No, it was just you were in the right land at the right time with the right alignment of the stars, and you started hearing a voice. You started channeling, and it was a new energy that you hadn't channeled before. So you really stopped and listened. And it was, is this true and accurate information? It was something about the joy that you had as a healer and affirming that you wanted to do it in many, many, many lifetimes. And are we able to identify like who was this energy coming through? Yes. They're saying that it was your high self. Like I was asking, was it a star being or an ancestor? They're saying there were ancestors there as well, not just ancestors from your biological lineage, but also ancestors from other lifetimes that you'd lived. This was a defining karmic moment for you where your soul really anchored in the archetype of being a light worker and bringing healing to the world. It sounds like you were maybe raised in a religious household in this lifetime.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon. And a lot of times it's because souls kind of need to see this thing that feels so uncomfortable for them and so not right to help them find their way to what does feel aligned. And so they're just emphasizing for you that as you are trying things and finding your way and how you want to show up in the world, that it's good for you to really integrate and know that you are a healer and how you're a healer is not, doesn't look like how I'm a healer, how anyone else is a healer. And there's a million ways to be a healer. Having this podcast is being a healer, and that you have a lot of ancestral support actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You have 16 biological ancestors who are with you all the time, which is a lot. And that's to me says you are doing a lot of ancestral healing in this lifetime. Yeah. And, you know, knowing your indigenous lineage as well and continuing to nurture that and learn about that and open up to that, I think is going to continue to be very healing for you. And also recognizing that your healing journey is what's going to benefit other people. And if you haven't gone to Brazil, you should go. It's going to be amazing. You're going to get chills all over your body. You're going to be like, oh my God, I know I've been here before. You actually have 2 lifetimes in Brazil, one even before this. Really? That was also very positive and felt very harmonious in community and in spirit and in, you know, whatever role you were playing. And so they're just, again, showing this specific one because it was really instrumental for carving out your soul's journey. And also because of this and kind of the atmosphere that's there, the environment, they're saying that that kind of humid environment is actually good for you.
Yeah. I love being by the beach. Being in Texas, I would get sick. It was really not great. So that's funny you say that.
Going to greenhouses or arboretums can be really helpful for kind of getting that too. But yeah, being by the beach is really good for you. Anything else coming through? Oh, they're saying that's it.
Was there anything in Australia? I've always had like this weird pull or interest since I was young to LA and Australia.
Yes. Is this true and accurate information? Yes. How many lifetimes? 1. That one's a more recent lifetime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In the 1700s, in the late 1700s. I don't know when that first batch of convicts went over, but, you know, I don't know. Maybe we're not too far behind them. Yeah, I'm feeling that you were a male in this life, and there was something wild feeling about Australia and expansive and very open and primal that you really enjoyed about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but also felt good to you. Felt very positive for you.
Yeah.
So when you go, let me know.
I love that. I'm actually going for New Year's.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Definitely keep track of how you feel everywhere you go. Write things down. Let yourself be guided. That's very exciting. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
Kind of crazy. So you mentioned my grandmother, and did she have some psychic ability? And she never really voiced it. She was a very assertive, headstrong, big personality. type of woman, but she, even to this day, if you ask my dad who was her favorite grandchild, it was always me.
Yeah.
And we just always had this crazy connection since I was a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so my aunt actually is really big into ancestry. She thinks and believes she has some psychic ability. And so, yeah, just a lot of the things you said was a little crazy because it definitely resonated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually getting that your grandmother is a soulmate of yours.
Mm.
So, which is is a very strong bond. She's a part of your soul. And so that makes a lot of sense. While there is probably other people in your family that you both have past lives with. So there's a familiarity there. There's lessons to be learned. There's history, but being a soulmate is different.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful description of how different it feels. It just is.
You just can't explain it.
You can't
and I
explain
feel her with me all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. There's, definitely some intuitive gifts that have run in your family. Crazy vivid dreams or, predictive feelings, not knowing how to put words to it, but all of those things, even being able to talk to animals, having strong relationships with animals, it's all psychic.
That's so funny because I have a dog. His name's Kingston. He's a Bichon Poo. And he's so cute. But I always look into his eyes and I'm like, what little human is inside of you? And people think that I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, he has human eyes. I just know that he was picked for me and he's my little sidekick.
Yep.
So.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You have 13 past lives together.
Me and my dog? No way. Oh.
Yeah. And it's, again, no accident that you're called to feel like there's a human in there because I am getting, is this true and accurate information? Yeah, then at least one, maybe two of these lifetimes that you have been humans together.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And animal communication is telepathy with animals who are communicating with us all the time. So your dog absolutely understands you. And if you are having a conversation and just allow the first thing that comes into your head as their response, that's a way of opening up your psychic channels. That can be another way that you can just play around with that. But you absolutely they picked you. They knew that they were going to find you. And they really wanted to be a dog because you're so nurturing and you're so affectionate, and they just wanted to take all that up, and they didn't want a lot of responsibility that comes with being a human.
Yeah.
So they chose to incarnate as this really adorable dog that you would spend all your time with.
I know, he just sits in my lap. If I'm sitting at the kitchen counter, he just cries until I have to go sit on the couch, start working on the computer, and he has to sit in my lap. It's so cute.
That's really sweet. Animals are our friends. They're our healers. And they have past life trauma too. I do the same work for dogs and cats, and I've even done for like chickens and goats and horses and pigs and donkeys. All the same.
You have to meet Kingston.
I would love to.
That's so cool. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. My pleasure. I love doing it.
Now I need to go to Brazil.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. Spring break 2026.
Literally. Carly and I were actually talking about where we should do a group trip or a travel experience. So maybe Brazil.
Brazil. Let me know the deets.
Yeah. You have to come.
I want to come.
And then for everyone that's in LA, you guys are doing, my best friend Carly, who I met Faith through, they are doing a little ceremony. Is it open to people still signing up, the public, on the 29th of October?
Yes.
But you have a bunch.
I have a bunch of events coming up, but that's the first one of this kind that I'm doing with Carly, a sacred micro medicine, sound, and healing journey.
Yeah.
So yes, that's going to be on the 29th. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
And I have a couple Reiki trainings in person coming up. If anybody has been called to learn Reiki, this is your sign. You should absolutely learn Reiki. And I'm doing 2 events of past life readings in a group where I go around and do readings for everyone. And those are always really exciting because what comes up for one person always resonates for other people in the group. And I'm doing one in Sherman Oaks on the 4th and one in Woodland Hills at a salt cave, which is amazing and so magical.
There's a salt cave in Woodland Hills. Okay, I'm coming.
Yes, it's called Valley Salt Cave. It's so lovely. And a lot of times when I'm in that space, in those events, the lights flicker a lot at like really important points that whatever energy wants us to pay attention to, which is always very cool. So I've been doing that one monthly for maybe a year and a half now, and it usually sells out. I love to do that.
Okay, well, I'm coming, so reserve my spot.
Okay.
And then I might bring Rachel too.
Amazing.
I'm introducing her into the spiritual
Love
stuff.
it. Everyone needs a friend like you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. That's my past life healer coming out. Okay, well, is there anything else you want to add?
Just that it's more important than ever to make sure that you're putting on your own oxygen mask first, and to make sure that you are doing what's in front of you and being of service in the ways that you can, and to know that that is important and that is real and that is making a change in the world. And we are together existing in this reality, and as we continue to devote ourselves to finding inner peace within ourselves in whatever small moments that we can find in our very busy days, that will lead to greater and greater stretches of inner peace, and you will experience more peace outside of you. And so I just want people to know that there is still hope in this world. There is still love in this world. People are really kind, and people are funny, and people are creative. And the more that we start saying that to ourselves and affirming, I'm so grateful to see that in my life, the bigger shifts are going to continue to happen. So I know that we all feel like we're in a fucking pressure cooker right now, but there are a lot of healers out there who are able to help you process all of the things that you need to process. So please just say yes, take time for yourselves. And there are bigger things and bigger energies and bigger love at play.
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on.
You're so welcome.
That was
Thank
so
you.
fun. I honestly
Wonderful.
could talk to you for hours and hours, so I'm having to cut myself off. So we might have to bring Faith back.
Yes, please. I would love that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to the new series of the Diaries After Dark. We will see you next week. Bye.